Hi, I'm Carl Taylor from visualeducation.com, and today we're going to be looking at how I created this image here. Now, this particular image of the Remy Martin Cognac was very, very difficult to achieve. If we look at the final result that we've got there, I've used very precise lighting to sculpt the bottle, to realize the aesthetics of the bottle and create a scene where that warmth and luxury all combines together in the final shot. Now, if we take a look at the real product which we've got here, you can see it won't look anything particularly special just here under the video lights. But what you will notice is the shape of the bottle is very unique, very specific. We have almost what I call sort of petals, if you like, in the shape of this bottle. And the difficulty of this from a lighting perspective is that we have all of these ridges and then these undulations on this high gloss glass to deal with. We also have the liquid, which we need to make glow and to look really vibrant. Then we have the label that we need to stand out in the final shot. And we've of course also got the gold metallic or chrome finished cap there. And the neck of the bottle that's highly reflective that we also have to deal with. And we've got to deal with all of those things and try to capture them all in camera in one go to reveal the product to its very best. Additional to that, I also wanted to include a cognac glass with some cognac in it. But what you'll notice in my final shot that I also applied a little bit of movement to that cognac so that the liquid looked like it was swirling in the glass. And then the third and sort of final component to the shot is the background. And actually interesting in this shot, I actually used an Adobe stock shot image from Adobe Stock Library to create my background. And we'll talk about that as we work through this image. So let's start off with the key lighting. Now the key lighting came from a scrim. And you can see here, this large scrim in a scrim frame, which is placed horizontally, I have three lights going through it. One here, creating this glow of light that we can see on the left there. The middle one, creating a slightly hotter spot of light here. And then the lower one, creating a slightly weaker, but also a hot spot of light. So that's what it looks like from behind the scrim. On the other side, if we look at where the product is and where I'm photographing from, we can see that glow of light. You can see the lower one here, the middle one here, and the other one, the taller one, is slightly out of shot there on the right-hand side. Here you can see the bottle placed on a gloss black acrylic surface. Behind the bottle is a cutout gold reflector, which is creating a glow through the bottle to make that liquid look much more vibrant. We'll come back to that in a second. The next thing that you might notice in this behind the scenes shot is that I'm holding a filter. I'm just adjusting a filter on the lens there. And what I'm actually doing is using a neutral density graduated filter. We normally use those for landscape photography to darken the sky, but here I'm using it upside down to darken my foreground. And that's because the gloss reflection on the black acrylic of the product that I want, its reflection is too bright in relation to the product. So therefore, when we're viewing the final shot, it would be competing with the main product itself. So I use the neutral density filter upside down to actually darken and graduate out the reflection in the surface of that glossy black acrylic. If we now look at the next behind the scenes shot, you can see another little light was added in here. This one was a honeycomb grid in a snoot. So just creating a really small patch of light, a really tiny blip of light. And if we look at the final shot, that is this bright, sparkly, flary, glowing light on the left-hand side of my bottle here, or my left-hand side, which I've deliberately overexposed on that side to create that flare and those sparkles, just to give a little bit more magic to the shot. So that was that really tight snoot that you can see Emma positioning in place for me there in that BTS shot. You can also see that I've just got a plain black background behind, and that's because, as I said, I'm going to comp in the Adobe stock shot into the final image, which we'll come to shortly. Again, on the left, you can see the scrim with my 3 lights. Now, why did I need those 3 lights in that scrim? So we're looking at them again from the back here. Well, the reason I needed those 3 lights is to get particular glows in particular areas of these petals. So when I put 1 light through that scrim, because of the shape of the bottle being round and the undulation of these petals, 1 glow might have illuminated just 1 particular area, but it didn't illuminate the others. So I then added another light and had my assistant move it around until I saw it light into where another part of the bottle that I needed, and again with the 3rd one. And then of course I needed to think about the lighting on the label, which was actually done with a reflector card, which we're going to come to shortly. So the reason for the 3 lights through the large scrim was not because we just needed more light, it was we needed light in particular places on the bottle. Remember, the bottle is a gloss surface, so the lighting that you see in it is image forming reflections. That means that you're seeing a mirror image of the light source itself, which is why we're using gradient lighting to keep that luxury there rather than softboxes. And because the image reflection would only form in one area with 1 light, I needed to add another light for another area, another light for another area, and so. So if we go to our next BTS behind the scenes shot, you can see here I'm just playing around with reflector card, and I'm trying to figure out where and how I can get some reflection bouncing back onto the subject. Here I'm using a reflector card from the front, and that reflector card from the front for the final shot is to cast light into the label. So the label that you can see illuminated here was utilizing a white reflector card, so it wasn't too bright. Didn't want to use a silver here, just a white one was enough, and bouncing light from my scrim, from those 3 lights coming through the scrim, hitting that white reflector card, bouncing into the label of the bottle was just about correct for what I needed. In the next BTS shot, you can see the crew filming the shoot here, but you can see more of a wider setup. This light that you see over on the right here that's illuminated is not for the photograph. That's actually a video light while we're filming there. Now let's move to the the bottle glow. So this particular glow through the product is created by using a gold reflector that's been cut out to exactly the right size at an angle behind the bottle, and it's angled towards our key lighting from that scrim. The key lighting from the scrim then hits the gold reflector, shines through the bottle, and that results in us getting these lovely, rich, sort of nectar, amber, reddish glows through the bottle. And you can see there in the final shot how beautiful that makes the bottle look. We get this real vibrancy. So we get a mix of the reflected, undulating gradient lighting from our key lights on the surface of the glass, but we also get the richness of the liquid coming through the glass by using that gold reflector behind the bottle. Then we just move on to some of the raw images here. And this is where I introduced the glass in the shot. I wanted to shoot the glass with the bottle. So the glass has now been placed in position, and I just had my assistant quick give it a swirl, and I've got a gold card behind the glass. And I'm just trying to capture the white, the correct swirl with the correct amount of gold light coming through it, that I can then comp that glass into the main shot. And then if we move on to the background, this was the Adobe stock shot of this sort of fiery glowing mist with a black surface, which would work perfectly to blend in my gloss black acrylic reflection. And that Adobe stock shot worked absolutely perfectly. And then finally in post-production, I'm taking my main shot, which consists of the Remy bottle and the glass, removing the reflector from behind the glass. I didn't need to remove the reflector from behind the bottle because that was already hidden. And then just enhancing a little bit on saturation and contrast and just a bit of burn and dodge work in my post-production. And then bringing in that Adobe stock shot as my background behind, which was very, very easy to do because my existing shot was just a simple plain background. And then utilizing my reflection on my black gloss acrylic on top of that Adobe stock shot, again, very easy to do. And as I pointed out, that reflection is kept subdued and minimized by the use of that upside down neutral density graduated filter. So the shot required a great deal of precision, great deal of control on the lighting, and a great deal of understanding on gradient lighting and using reflectors, manipulating light, etc., etc. And that resulted in the final shot that we have there. So I hope those tips were useful to you to understand the process on creating a high-end advertising style shot such as that. Now, as well as the photography, you can also watch the entire post-production class on how I put this shot together. If you'd like to see more, then we have thousands of other amazing classes and tutorials and lots of amazing professional tips in those videos to help you learn product photography at the very highest level. You can check all of those out on visualeducation.com. I'm Carl Taylor. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for watching.